That's alright, don't worry. Okay, small children out of the way. Let's talk about the big kid stuff now. So, hello and welcome to day 4. Yes, day 4 of the Cambridge Film Festival. It's only 4 days in and I've already lost all sense of time and space. And we are here with one of the many friends of the festival, a famed silent music composer, as well as other films who he composes music for, not just silent film. We have the one and only Neil Brand, so hello.
Hello, Max. Hello.
Hello. So, this is... How many times you've now been to the Cambridge Film Festival?
Actually, probably heading for 20 years.
20 years?
Probably heading that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when you first started with the Cambridge Film Festival, what was it like?
Well, the guy who's always been my connection to Cambridge is Tony Jones. And Tony has always seen silent film as something that the festival really should be celebrating and really should be involving. So he would ring up and say, well, you know, I've seen so-and-so, what about doing that? How do you fancy doing this? And I'd come. And what I always find with Cambridge audiences is that you've got a pretty intelligent audience anyway. So even if they're not up to speed with silent film, they're normally up to speed with something to do with the film you're doing.
Yeah.
So they make for a reasonably tough audience as well, because they're used to reasonable music, they're used to not being patronised. So you are on your best behaviour with Cambridge audiences. But since I've started doing the children's films, it's been the place I've been able to experiment to find out just how much you can get children into silent cinema. Mostly comedy, obviously.
Yes.
But from doing Saturday mornings for Cambridge, which I've probably been doing for 8 or 9 years now, I've then started doing morning shows for Bowness in Scotland and for the Barbican, and I'm beginning to get a bit of a handle on what it is kids do need to be told about silent film and what they really don't. What they don't need to be told is that it works. They already believe it works. Particularly something like Buster Keaton.
Oh yes, so you had Keaton for Kids yesterday.
Keaton for Kids yesterday. And we had 5 and 6 year olds sitting there absolutely glued to what amounted to actually nearly an hour and 3/4 of Keaton comedy. But they were really into it and they loved the more sophisticated gags. It's not just that they love people being kicked up the arse and falling over. They actually do love the clever stuff. The moment in Keaton Sherlock Jr. in which he's already set up that he's in the thieves' kind of den, and he needs to get the pearls off them and disappear out before they shoot him or whatever. And you've seen him already put a round costume case with an old woman's costume in it in the window. And he's standing at the far end of the room, and the main villain is holding out the pearls and saying, we're going to see that you never leave this room alive. And he runs, grabs the pearls, jumps through the window, through the costume bag, and stands up outside dressed as an old woman and walks away, seemingly in one movement. Well, they absolutely love that. And it's not just a classic gag, it's a classic gag you'd have trouble recreating now, because it's so unexpected. You really don't think, and in fact it's far more sophisticated than the gag would suggest, because the amount of planning it must have taken to shoot it, and then this unbelievable cut which actually comes just as he jumps to the window and before he's dressed as the old woman. There's actually a cut there which you can't see because it's so beautifully done. It's a great piece of work. So since then, what I tend to do with children particularly is just explain a bit what I'm doing with the music and get them to suggest musical ideas.
Okay.
And they love all that. And then after that, Keaton's on his own and doing just fine with very, very young kids.
Yeah, because a lot of the silent film is very interesting. The image itself is very, it's very attention grabbing and has a lot of energy to it. But then, sort of different musical interpretations can make it seem, more intense or a little bit calmer. And it's always interesting to have that connection, especially the difference between music that's on the film and then music that's being played live with the film as well.
Exactly, and also because I'm playing live, I also have a mic. So that there are points in the film perhaps where the kids might lose track of what's going on, maybe because of the age of the film. Sometimes you get a jokey insight coming up that might have been a laugh riot in 1925, but we wouldn't understand that. I'll say to them, "Oh, this means he's doing so and so," so they never lose the thread of the film.
Okay.
So by the end of it, they're with it all the way through, the way the adults are. It's great, and also adults love seeing their kids getting off on Buster Keaton because you feel like the circle's going around again.
Yeah. So parents and children have something they can, share.
Properly share.
Yeah. And so, aside from the many film festivals you do to promote silent film, is there anything else you're doing with silent? Anything you want to particularly, sort of advertise while we have this interview opportunity?
Tonight with the Cambridge Film Festival, I'm doing Les Deux Timides, The Two Timid Souls, which is Monty Python, as done by French silent cinema in the 1920s. It's a comedy, actually, by the same director as the Italian Straw Hat, which is René Clair.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderfully funny, quite Python-esque comedy about a very, very timid lawyer who finds himself on the wrong side of a brutal wife-beating husband who he's ended up putting in prison by mistake.
Sounds fun.
It's great. It's hilarious. And it's full of... You actually see people thinking, and you see the film shows you their thoughts. It's very, very funny, very clever. But the big thing that I've just finished is the score for Fairbanks' Robin Hood. I wrote for the BBC Symphony Orchestra. And we did it at the Barbican. Sorry, I realise we're being interrupted by a Nobel Prize winner now.
Yeah.
What can you do?
I know, right? I mean, yeah.
But there we go. The man, if the man doesn't turn up for his Nobel Prize, that will be the coolest thing anybody has ever done, ever. As far as I'm concerned.
Then again, if he has a Native American woman in this place, it'll just be all it's been done,
Robin Hood, 2 hours, 10 minutes of rollicking adventure. I scored it for full orchestra. We're coming to Saffron Hall in Saffron Walden in February. That'll be, at the moment, the only other time we'll ever get to see this film with a full-size live orchestra playing. But further down the line, I hope there'll be more. And I also start shooting a new TV series for BBC 4 next week, and that is the sound of the musical theatre.
Yeah.
I'm doing a 3-part history of the musical as part of that.
That's pretty good.
And then, of course, there's our joint baby, which is Neil Brand's Bells and Whistles, which is a website you really ought to check out.
A web series on YouTube that
Absolutely.
is developing as it goes along. At the moment, we have short and long episodes about certain films and certain themes.
Yep.
And then later on, there'll be a vlog as well for your various exploits. And then in the future, who knows?
And we do want to hear from people. We want you to ask us questions.
Absolutely.
About film music, or about how film music works, how it's written, certain films you like, films you don't like. And we will do our best to do something about those.
Yeah. So if you ever had a question about the film industry, in particular the music side, that you've always wanted to ask, this is the man. I mean, questions about his personal love life, anything like that, we might put to one side.
As well, but they'll be very boring.
Yeah. And, any questions about, is there an afterlife or something like that? I'm sure we can answer with musical accompaniments as well.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, anything, on that line, I'm very happy to talk about.
Well, there you go. So, is there a God? Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
That should answer your question.
Absolutely. Straight answer, sort of.
Sort of. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, but it might be Bob Dylan.
It might be Bob Dylan. Yeah. Good luck. I'm not sure what else to cover. I think
that's probably it.
I think that's probably it. We've got the bases down, You play music, there's Robin Hood, we have a YouTube page, subscribe. I think we should leave it there before any more Bob Dylan songs make this a nightmare for me to edit later, considering copyright content.
Thank you, Max.
Anyway, I'll see you later.
Take care.
Shaking hands like we've only just met. And this is all from us at the film festival. Thank you and goodbye. And let's just, pretend to drink like... This is what we do normally now. Cheers. Yeah. Having a... Ooh, that water is strong, Rockstar lifestyle. Hail Satan.